Okay, so today is October 4th, Sunday, October 4th, 2015. It's about 9:55 p.m. at night. I work today. So anyway, I got back here to Virginia from Costa Rica about just over a week ago. And I tried really hard to, I have to apologize, I tried really hard to make the last video on that series, when I first was about to leave right after my last appointment. But unfortunately, when I went in, they did do the filling. They took out the old filling, put in a new filling, and fixed that all. But then they said they weren't very happy with the way that my temporaries looked. So they asked me if I had time to come back in the afternoon, which, I was just getting ready to fly out the next morning. So, I was trying to pack and everything, but I was like, look, I'm here for it, so might as well get it done while I'm here. So I made the appointment for about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was supposed to also sit down and talk to Dr. Marco to be able to see, what he thought and everything else. So he called me in and he said, look, we want you to come back and we're going to recap a tooth down here and then rework my temporaries because he didn't like the way that they looked. So I did. I made the appointment, went back at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and wow, I have to say, they took the temporaries back out and they spent hours working on getting them to look better than they did, and I was more happy with the way that they had looked. Earlier on at the very beginning, I wasn't tremendously thrilled with how they looked, but then after I got used to them and so forth, then I realized, well, they don't look bad at all. And then but then he wasn't very happy with it, so he had me come back in, and they spent several hours going back over them and reshaping them and reforming them to my mouth and trying to make them look even better and more aesthetic. So I was very happy with how much care and effort they put into it. I did end up, leaving there in the evening, walking back and thinking to myself, that's just amazing how much time and care that they put into that. I think they reworked my temporaries, and they're just temporaries, and they reworked them 3 different times. So there was a really high level of dedication that I found down in Costa Rica that I not really ever experienced in the United States. I was really floored by it, and you can probably tell by all my videos, I probably sound like a cheerleader for them, which isn't really what I had planned on. I wanted to go down and I wanted to be able to give, all sides of the argument and be able to, really give some good information to people so they could make decisions for themselves. And yes, there were some small downsides to things, the wait time in between appointments, things of that nature. The fact that I didn't have, I really didn't have time to go out and see the country the way I would have liked to, things of that nature. But, those are all such small concerns. They're really way low on the priority list when you're talking about going to another country for medical care or dental care. So anyway, yeah, after that I went home and I got up early the next morning. I was all packed. I stayed up late and packed and said goodbye to everybody, and got down to. Now I will say that the driver I had made a deal with the driver from the dental clinic to come and pick me up to take me back to the airport, and he was a no-show. So, when I had planned on trying to get there 2 hours prior to my flight, he didn't show up, and it was getting to be an hour and a half before my flight, and I had to hire another guy. and get a ride to the airport, and then I had to rush through the, giving them like $29 or whatever it was as the exit tax for the country, and then, dealing with Spirit Airlines, which, by the way, I have very little good to say about Spirit Airlines. They were, they just nickel and dime you. They might have low fares, but by the time they nickel and dime you to death, you end up paying more than you would for another flight on another airline. So, unless they're willing to do something to make up for that, then I'm not planning on flying Spirit Airlines again. But yeah, I mean, I got through all the stuff, all the customs stuff, and paying all the taxes and paying all that, and going through TSA and everything. Flew back into the United States, landed at Fort Lauderdale, and while I was at Fort Lauderdale Airport, they had some small minor fire or something in the airport, so they pushed us all out onto the tarmac, and so I spent quite a bit of time out on the, well, not quite a bit of time, but a good amount of time out on the tarmac, waiting for them to make sure that everything was safe and okay to go back into the airport. And then right after we got back into the airport, the plane loaded and flew on to Dulles International Airport, which, comparatively speaking to the Costa Rican airport, I was really amazed at just how dirty and disgusting our airports in America are compared to, this airport in Costa Rica. We just don't hold a candle to them. Where their airport was very clean and very nice, and it wasn't a bad place to be. It was kind of like any kind of airport in a small town anywhere around the country, or a small city around the country. So so it was a long, arduous trip, but as far as trying to get through all of the lines to get this done and get that done, and passports checked, and going through customs and all that stuff, that made it a really long and arduous trip. But really, it wasn't bad. The Costa Ricans, their airport security was really nothing compared to what we're used to in the United States. So that really wasn't a downside either. So anyway, I got back to Virginia, and I went to where I was storing my things, and found out that one of my trailers had a flat tire on it. So after picking up my RV and going, and I had to kind of sleep in my car and wait for the storage unit place to open so I could put my code in so I could get into where my RV was. And then I got my RV, and the next thing I did was, after I saw that I had a flat tire, knew I couldn't do anything about it that day. I was just too tired. So I just drove until I found a nice place and parked and fell asleep. So then the next day, as soon as I woke up, I went back over, borrowed a jack from a friend, went and took that tire off that trailer, and went and had the tire fixed, and went back and put it back on the trailer, and that took quite a bit of time, just trying to get the trailer all jacked up and get that all taken care of. So by the end of the day, I was pretty wore down and pretty wore out. And then the next day, I started back to work, and suddenly I was around a lot of people I hadn't been around in a while, and that was very nice, and regaling them with the adventures of my trip and so forth. But I started feeling kind of ill, and it started raining that day. And now it's been about a week and a half, and I have had the flu terribly ever since. And it has rained for a week and a half straight. We have not seen the sun. It's so bad that I don't know if you can hear it in the video or not, but I have my generator running right now, trying to produce enough electricity so I can have enough light in here to be able to make this video. Because my solar cells have just not been able to produce enough electricity with not having any sun. To make any, it's just been dark in here so much, and after a while it gets kind of depressing, and but you just kind of live through it, because you know, the sun will come out sooner or later, and then you'll have your lights back and you'll have your electricity back and everything. So and now I've been having to run my generator in order to be able to create enough power to get through the evenings, which has raised my cost of living a little bit, not much, but a little bit, which is not something I'm really overly thrilled about, but, you know, what are you going to do? So that's why I didn't get the, you know, because of that next appointment, I didn't end up having time in the afternoon to make a video about what had happened at that last appointment until now, and then came back and I had that flat tire I had to fix and I was exhausted, and then I was working and I just got really sick. So this was the first chance that I'd had to make a video. And you know, a few of my friends have seen these videos and some of them have said that they're kind of dry. You know, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to provide information here, so that way you can make an informed decision about whether or not to make a trip to Costa Rica for dental work. And, you know, and I think as I get going with the RV and start having more adventures with the RV, and really as I get more comfortable being in front of a camera, I think that hopefully my videos will start getting better. So if, you know, they seem dry or whatever, you know, and you have any ideas on what I can do to make them better, please send me comments. I'm really looking forward to getting some comments about people's trips and, you know, things they're doing with their RVs and, you know, and pretty much anything really. So just kind of let me know and what you think, and I don't know, I'm gonna keep going. My next trip is New York City, and I will be leaving here for the Big Apple within the next few days. So by I think Friday of this next week, I'm gonna, after I get off work, I drive straight through to Manhattan, where I'm going to be staying with a friend, and I don't know how much sightseeing or how much other stuff I'm really going to get to do, because I just don't have, well, I've got, you know, I'm going to be helping her with doing some things, so I'll make a video along the way on that, and I'll keep you posted. So look forward to seeing you again. Talk to you later.